Hi guys, Brian here, and today I wanted to give you my quick impressions on Transformers Generations Deluxe Class Orion Pax. The Optimus before he was Optimus. The IDW Super Cop. It's a pretty decent looking alt mode. Weapon storage is very kind of blah. But, you know, especially when they had this big space right here, they might have been able to do something. But then again, I generally don't use this weapon at all for him. But as far as his vehicle mode itself, it looks pretty interesting. It definitely looks like a truck. Doesn't really completely look like a alien truck to me, because with that you think truck. With that you think alien truck. But easily just take off the arms basically and the spiky bits, and it just looks like a regular truck. So it's not quite as alien looking as I would like, but it still is a pretty decent looking alt mode. I buy it well enough as a Cybertronian vehicle. And there's no drastic underkibble. I hate seeing robot mode parts when I turn the car over. For no specific reason, since I don't display things upside down, it just kind of bugs me. I do like these thrusters on his feet that you can see, so you can kind of imagine that he's using thrusters to boost himself up to transform. But for a quick size comparison, here we have him with False Cybertron Ultra Magnus, who is a mold that a lot of people probably have in some fashion. So you can say he's longer than Ultra Magnus, thinner than Ultra Magnus. You can't see that. And shorter, or longer than Ultra Magnus. But they don't look completely out of place next to each other. It's a decent enough Cybertronian mode that I'm satisfied with this in a Cybertronian display. So the alt mode is alright. Not amazing, but I like it. So while it's not amazing, I enjoy it. It's definitely was used in the comics, so therefore it's kind of accurate to the comics. Actually, those look quite a lot like the comic that came with the figure, which I no longer have because I don't really keep those because I buy comics digitally. Anyway, I like the figure in vehicle mode. Let's get over to robot mode and see how he is there. Alright, and here we have Orion Pax in his robot mode, and I honestly forgot about his axe in vehicle mode, but it would have just stored on the other side of the vehicle, just as annoyingly as his gun did. And actually this axe is rather cool. I dig this axe, which is why I didn't keep it with him, who in my mind, I display him as Orion Pax the librarian, not Orion Pax the super cop that he actually is a figure of. So I display this axe with War for Cybertron Optimus, who needs an axe. And I didn't buy the Corbot V War Axe, even though I could have. I just didn't feel like spending the money on it. And this is a good enough axe that I generally keep for him. But a word of warning about this axe is it's all clear plastic and painted on here. So I actually had 2 of these at one point and put it in his hand and left it there for like a month. And then when I went to go remove it, it broke off in his hand. So be careful about this. I no longer fully set this axe in his hand. But so I assume that would be the case with basically any other figure with a 5mm hand. But Pax here is pretty awesome figure, which is why I decided to grab him and do a video on him. His head sculpt, I love this head sculpt. Focus, there you go. Those bright blue eyes just like shine when I see. I love this head sculpt. It is an awesome head sculpt. It obviously has light piping, but it had painted eyes instead. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and say the unpopular thing, and I like painted eyes better than light piped eyes, because painted eyes just tend to look better to me. But anyway, his head is on a ball joint and can get some rather good expression. He's slightly hindered by this panel behind his head, but not obscenely so. His shoulders can do a full 360. They got a bicep swivel. They got a decent elbow. They can rotate at the wrist. I don't know why they didn't just make this all one piece and a ball joint here, as opposed to a black piece which allows the inward movement for transformation, and then the blue hand piece which allows for rotation. It seems like they could have saved a little bit of money and just engineered a ball joint there to allow for the same range of movement. His arms kind of they clip onto the rear view mirror there, but not really clipping, just kind of resting. So it's quite easy for them to come off. He's got a waist joint, which is rather tight actually. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, a very good knee, and incredibly awesome feet. Ball jointed feet that allow you to do anything you want with them. So this guy, as I'm sure you'll see later, can do basically any pose you can imagine with him. Well, maybe not any pose, but can do a really, really good number of them. As for the transformation itself, it's slightly annoying that it's very much a shell, because there's the vehicle mode basically. But I do also at the same time love how the chest, it slits off here at just below the window and moves around. The arms, I love that the wider part of the shoulders is part of the arm assembly, and you slide this in to widen the shoulders. I love that effect. That is just an awesome effect. And in robot mode, this guy looks amazing. This looks like a quintessential Orion Pax librarian to me. So this is why I just knew I had to have him. His back has no kibble, basically, other than the wheels, which I'm okay with. His arms have the silver that would be his trailer, or mirroring the trailer or something to that effect. I dig these panels. They look cool. Basically, my only gripe about the transformation is that half of his truck folds up onto his legs. Which is cool that it fills out the legs very nicely, but it kind of makes him a little bit of a shell former, and I'm not in love with shell formers. But the end result is something that's really, really awesome. Now, I do want to give a little bit of warning about this guy. I have taken him and repainted him into a custom character. Surprise, surprise. And I wanted to give some warning because when I did this guy, he broke. All right, now that I straightened him out and dusted him a little bit, let's get back to this. So yeah, he broke on me. Specifically, he broke, well, let's use the one that I'm not concerned about breaking. The wheels broke off at this right here. You didn't see that. Broke off at the joint where these wheels rotate. So I was concerned about that. I don't see any stress marks on these guys right now. I suspect that my breakages were mostly caused by the paint interacting with the plastic poorly. But he also broke off in the assembly that holds the top half of the chest to the bottom half of the chest. There's a double hinge in here that it just snapped off as well. So he kind of, basically this torso piece crumbled a bit underneath the paint that I used, which is just Tamiya paint that I haven't had any other issues with elsewhere. So, and I did notice actually recently that he has a stress mark on the same joint inside of him for the chest as well. But I'm not super concerned about it at the moment. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I don't expect it's going to be an issue. For some other size comparisons, let's go ahead and throw in the Mebsuda Ultra Magnus armor, because I have him in my hand. And that looks awesome to me. You already saw him with Optimus Prime. Here's G-Axis and Windblade from a more recent line of Generations figures. And because why not, there's Swerve. Or rather, Trash Talk from Make Toys. So I think he scales well with other figures. But really, I love the size the comparison with him with War for Cybertron Optimus Prime. Because this just looks like Orion Pax, the Librarian, and Optimus Prime, the Prime. I like the small upgrade that he would have gotten in the body, and This just works for me on a lot of levels. I like this a lot. Other than some hollowness issues with his arms, he can basically pull off any pose you need to, and is rather dynamic. I rather like him. Now, for my final thoughts on him, as you might have guessed, I dig this guy quite a lot. He's actually one of the better Generations figures that I've ever gotten. Even with my minor gripes and nitpicks, he is just a very, very cool figure that I really like having. In fact, my display kind of at the moment has the Autobots and Decepticons on either side, and he's kind of stuck in the middle, as Orion Pax, the librarian, was stuck in the middle, trying to figure out how to do stuff. I dig that display idea. So yeah, my overall thoughts on this guy are very, very positive. He is a really cool figure. If you like the look of him at all, I'd say if you're interested, go ahead and pick him up. I don't really ever tell you guys what to buy, but this guy is definitely one that if you like the look of him, he is not really going to disappoint you. So there's my thoughts on him, guys. I'm curious to know what you think of him. What do you think of Orion Pax? Which Orion Pax do you prefer, the Super Cop or the Librarian? Personally, I prefer Orion Pax to the Librarian because I think it has a nice dichotomy to him and Megatron, being similar but different. But what else do you guys feel about the current IDW comic books? How do you feel about More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise? What do you think of Galvatron? But that's basically it for me. So I will see you guys later. And I'm out. I must go. My planet needs me.